Hi guys, Mike here with you at Gillies Place, a place where I normally talk about all things Gillies, but today I'm going to talk about something a little different. I want to talk about the new airplane that I purchased, which is my F33A. And it's a beechcraft bonanza with an IO 520 in it, and I'm really excited about this plane, and my father was too. I purchased it about 3 weeks before Dad passed, and he's been gone about 2 months now. So for about 6 weeks, I actually worked on this plane to get it to look like it looks now. I hate to say this, but I did buy it sight unseen. However, I did see the pictures on the internet, and I wished I had actually gone down there and looked at it in person, and I did not do that. And I do highly recommend that you go down and put your hands on your airplane when you go and see it. Because I did get a pre-buy on it, and the pre-buy showed a few things that it needed to be done, and I did have those things already addressed. But the problem is the condition of the outside of the airplane, and I'm not talking about the paint job, I'm talking about the corrosion issues, were a little more than what people were telling me, and they made it sound like it was a minor issue, but it probably is if it's in one or two places, but if it's almost the whole airplane, it is a big problem, and something that needs to definitely be taken care of. Now, I do have a new prop for it. I purchased the prop right before we received the plane. The plane came from Daytona Beach, Florida, and that's probably why it had so much corrosion, because it was down there in the salt air. Now, I'm in Galveston, Texas, or real close to Galveston, I should say, and I'm dealing with the same issues probably. Not quite as bad, but I still have that to deal with. So I did get a 3-blade prop for this airplane, and we will get it put on here pretty soon. Let's walk around the airplane a little bit, take a look at it here, okay? So here's a little shot of the engine itself. I opened up the cowling so we can take a look at the inside of it there. It's clean inside, and I'm pretty happy with that. The Mooney leaked oil all the time. I don't understand why, because we could never figure out where it was coming from, but this one doesn't do that. Let's take a look. You see how I'll take a walk all the way around the plane first before we go inside and talk about it a little bit. I've had 2 airplanes prior to this one. I had a 182 Cessna, and I had the Mooney Rocket, and both of them were good flying airplanes. It's just that this particular airplane is one that we were really excited about getting, and honestly, I'm glad I do have this one. It is a breeze to fly, and I really love it. This is the baggage compartment, and the interior in here is original, and it is as clean as a pin to be original. I just can't believe that there aren't any tears and wears and things like that on this thing. So if you can see right here, you'll notice that the paint came off. That came off when I taped it to actually do a little bit of paint work, and I've got to touch that up, and I haven't done that yet. So the overall appearance of the airplane now is in really good shape. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but I'd say it's a lot better than it was. I'll show you some pictures of what it looked like when I received it, and we're going to go over that in just a little bit because I'm going to talk about that some. But I actually changed the upper part right here. You see where that little thing comes down like that? It was straight, and I redid that. I thought it looked better having a little bit different design on that. I was going to put a stripe on the plane in this area here, and I did not do that. I changed my mind. I figured I'd keep it as original paint scheme as possible, and that's what it basically is, except for that little tail section I changed. So the plane's clean. It doesn't have any hail damage at all, and really the cockpit glass in it is original, and it's in really good shape. There's not any crazing or anything basically going on there, and I did touch up the landing gear area here a little bit. It was it was showing some wear and tear. So anyway, this is the F33A. I'm going to try to show more videos on the F33A because there wasn't any on the internet when I started looking at things about this airplane, and I'll try to go over things that I incur and come about. I do have one question. I'm sure someone out there will know. I have not been able to put my finger on it yet. I've asked a few people and no one really knows, but you see this particular antenna right here? I do not know what that antenna goes to. I'm assuming it goes to the radios that I have on the inside, but I'm just speculating that that's what it goes to. So we're going to climb up into the airplane and go over some things inside there. So let's take a look. Okay, this is the cabin area for me. I'm going to show you the interior. I talked about how clean it was earlier, and it actually is extremely clean. I know it's dated, but you know what? Considering how clean it is, I think I can live with it. And I'm starting to grow on me a little bit as far as the colors and stuff. I was going to get the airplane repainted, but honestly, to spend $25,000 at this point in time, I thought I'd rather fly it for a while before I ended up doing that. But let's go ahead and take a look at what the interior consists of. So if you notice down here on the passenger side, or the co-pilot side, I have tip brakes on both sides, which is really pretty cool. And this one has dual yokes. And a lot of the Beechcraft only have a single, and it's a throwover. So I do have some antiquated looking radios here, but I do have the 430 WAS, which has the built-in radios in it, which works just fine for me, and I'm glad I have that. I'm used to the 530, but I'm getting used to this 430 a little bit. You have to play with it a little bit. It's just a little bit different. Here we go with the, of course, I have the transponder, and I have the Garmin 496, which is something I don't use that much, but it is something that a lot of people have in their airplanes. To me, it's just like a normal GPS, but it does follow and track the same as the 430. So I do have two G5s here. I'm used to the standard steam gauges, and I do not quite have the G5s down pat like I want to just yet, but I'm working on them, and it's working out pretty well for me. And I do like them. They are user friendly. I just haven't quite gotten them mastered yet. Down here at the autopilot I have is the I think it's the GFC 500 is what they actually call it. I'll double check on that, but I think that's what it is. And when you pull this out, I do have it set up so that I can put my iPad, and I have my Stratus over here on the side. So I'm pretty well set to do just about anything that I'd really like to do. And this airplane is quite user-friendly as far as I'm concerned, and I'm very happy with this. So let's move on outside, and I'll talk about the pre-buy a little bit. All right, guys, as you can tell, it's kind of hot out here, so we're going to wrap this up pretty quick. Just wanted you to know, don't forget to check out gillies.com. We have some new products coming out, and it's something that we're going to keep alive for a long time, I hope. So check out gillies.com, and don't forget to check out Gillies Place also. It's some of the other videos I've done. They're more about Gillies than they are about this airplane, but from now on, I'm probably going to do a lot more about other things, and this particular plane is something I'm going to do some videos on for everybody, so that we do get to understand it a little bit better. Like I said, there's an awful lot of stuff out there on the V-tails. There's a lot of stuff on the Debonairs, but I have not been able to find hardly anything on the F33As, and it is an airplane that I have, so I'd like for people to recognize it a little bit better than what they have been doing. It has 80 gallons of fuel capacity, 40 per side. Now there's not, I think there's 37 usable in each tank. So That's plenty of fuel for me. The Mooney had 105, and it was a 200 knot airplane, complexed. But this particular airplane is probably 160, 167 knot airplane, which is fine. That's all I need. It'll get me anywhere I want to go, and it'll carry what I want to carry. So really pleased with that. This airplane lands very, very smoothly. You hardly notice it when it touches down, whereas the Mooney and the 182 that I had, both of those, you knew when you were going to touch down. I mean, you felt it. But in this plane, you barely can tell that you've touched the runway, and I find that to be amazing. I just didn't realize it was going to be that smooth. I'm used to the thumps and the bounces and all the other stuff that the other airplanes would tend to do sometimes. This one does not do that. So I do know that landing it is about 70 knots, and that seems to be an ideal landing speed for this airplane. I still have to have a little bit more time in this plane before they can turn me loose in it. I know I have probably 150 hours in a Mooney, and it was extremely hard airplane to fly, and you really had to stay way ahead of that airplane in order to make sure that you didn't get in trouble. I'm not saying this airplane isn't that way. You still have to stay ahead of it, but it's more relaxing to fly than the Mooney was. And I know there's a lot of Mooney people out there that are going to complain about me talking about Moonies like that, but I loved my Mooney, and I hate I got rid of it. My father didn't feel comfortable with that airplane, so we moved into something a little bit different. However, he did not get to see this airplane. So I want to talk a little bit about what it came about when I got this airplane. So the little story is what happened is I had been looking online for, I went to a controller and trade a plane, all those type of things, trying to find an airplane that I could buy. And believe it or not, everything that I called on had already been taken. So this particular airplane actually had a contract on it when I called on it. And the salesman told me that it may still come available in a few days if the person that's purchasing it can't get their financing done. And so I waited, and believe it or not, it was April Fool's Day that I got the call, and they told me that the airplane could be mine if I wanted it, and I took it right then. So when I went out to we were playing at a venue, and Dad was doing a rehearsal on stage, and I went out there to tell him, and he goes, "Oh yeah, right, April Fools, yeah, I get it. You're pulling my leg." And I said, "No, I really did get it." So it was kind of a funny little situation there for a moment when he thought that I was pulling his leg about trying to get this airplane. And what I wanted to talk about is I took the plane over the phone. I had to have it delivered to me because it was in Daytona Beach, Florida. I did not get it brought in right away because they were waiting on weather and things like that. So in the meantime, while we were waiting, and I wasn't in town because I was on the road, I went ahead and had a few things done that the pre-buy said I needed to have done. So with the pre-buy, it actually gave me the opportunity to negotiate a little bit better price. And that's why, for one reason, you should get a pre-buy. It actually does give you a little bit of room to play around with if there's something wrong with the airplane. And there was in this particular case. It wasn't nothing that bad. I mean, the airplane ran, everything was fine with that part of it. But there were some things that needed to be changed out because they were out of their time range. One of it was the hoses. They were out of date, and they suggested the hoses be replaced, and the exhaust system had some corrosion on it, which was not sure exactly how they worded it, but it basically stated that they needed to be replaced too. So we replaced the hoses and the exhaust while it was down there in Daytona. Now, what I'm concerned about for everybody out there is the thing to do is when you, I had a couple of birds fly in, when you do put something down on an airplane, I suggest you go and take a look at it if you can. I mean, not if you can, you need to do it. Go down there, put your hands on that plane and look at it. Don't trust anyone to tell you that the plane is in good shape, excellent shape, whatever kind of shape they want to say it's in. This particular plane, the finish on it was pretty good. And you can see the finish on some of this is still just fine. I mean, there was nothing wrong with the overall finish on the plane. However, it was inundated with corrosion. And the corrosion was on the seams, like in these seams here, these seams here. There's still a little bit right here I haven't fixed. It's around the windows. It was on all the places that you could imagine, all the center sections of the wings, tail sections. Everything was corroded bad enough that I felt like it needed to be addressed. Now, I talked to the salesman, I talked to the people that did the work on the airplane for me. No one seemed to think that it was that big of a deal. And maybe it wasn't, but it sure looked awful bad. And the owner, previous owner, had taken a spray can and tried to spray over all the spots to make them look better. And the guy at the mechanic place that I had the repairs done, he said, well, it would have looked a little better if the guy had used paint that matched better. So I thought, well, that's no big deal. I've touched up some of the other airplanes that I've had, and it's not a big problem. And I felt like they basically just kept saying the leading edges of the front wings are the ones that need to be attended to. But it turned out to be just about the whole airplane. But I did want you to know, put your hands on that airplane, go look at it. Would I have bought it the way it was? Probably I would have, because you know what? I have this attitude that I can fix anything. Now, mind you, it's an airplane and I can't work on it. I'm not allowed to do a lot of things to it, and I understand that. So, and I respect that too, because I don't want to get killed in this thing. But I'm telling you, if you consider minor touch-up paint work and stuff, that's something that you can do on your own airplane. You can change the oil in it, that type of thing. So the point I'm making is put your hands on it. Make sure it's in a condition that either you can get it repaired or you can deal with the price that you're getting it for and have the repairs done for you. Whatever it is you want to do, but I'm telling you, it's important that you do put your hands on it. I highly recommend it. I bought 2 planes prior to that without pre-buys, and really, I got to look at them before I actually took possession of them, but they weren't in the shape this plane was in, and I thought, now the 182 had hail damage, and they told us ahead of time, and I was expecting that. The Mooney, it had a little bit of paint missing in a few little spots. It was no big deal either, but it didn't have any corrosion, so that was fine. This particular airplane, however, it's taken a little bit more work than what I had planned on, and I've spent probably about 6 weeks trying to make it look like it actually looks. Now, we did a walk around and the plane looks pretty clean now, and I can live with it the way it is. Later on down the road, I may get it repainted and I may change the paint scheme up, but right now I'm planning on keeping the plane just like it is, and I'm going to fly it some. So here it is. I will show some more videos. I'll try to get some inside cockpit photos of us flying the plane so that you can see how this plane handles and what we're doing. We're fixing to take a trip to Branson, Missouri on Tuesday. Be my first cross-country trip in this airplane, so I'm going to see how it performs and how well it does on fuel. So I'll report some of those things back to you once I get back on the ground. Also, I just wanted to tell you, don't forget to go to gillies.com. Check out our new line of shirts and stuff that we're coming out with, and keep in touch, and know that I try to talk about all things Gillies, and I will. I'll bring some more things in line that have to do with my father. So I'll touch base with you on those type of things here pretty soon. Anyway, thanks for watching, and come back and watch the balance of the stuff that I'm going to show on this F33A Beechcraft Bonanza. I think you'll find interesting.